after an alien-like performance on day 3 of the NFL Combine, which I warned y'all was coming, should the Miami Dolphins be considering Taylen Green on day 2 now? I warned you. You could have cracked the top 75. We will discuss that. Plus, do Miami Dolphin fans need a rude awakening that every quarterback outside of Fernando Mendoza is a big project in their own way in this draft? We'll discuss that. Plus, who were the standouts from day 3 of the NFL Combine in terms of measurements, overall testing, all that good stuff. So, hey, let's get into this. What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. I appreciate each and every one of you coming through for this episode. And oh my, what a day that was, huh? What a beautiful day on day 3 of the Combine that was. We had the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wideouts. Oh, beautiful day. Oh, beautiful day. It was a great showing. We're going to talk about it all, but with the Combine come some rumors, and one of them right now, the Minnesota Vikings might already be done with JJ McCarthy. Remember, GM out, Kevin O'Connell has more say. Kevin O'Connell, he wanted Drake May. He wanted nothing to do with JJ. And Tony Pauline is reporting that the Minnesota Vikings are quietly exploring an exit strategy for JJ McCarthy. Quote, source tells me the team is really down on JJ McCarthy and is ready to move on from their 2024 first-round pick. The team will bring in another signal caller to compete and eventually replace McCarthy, who was the 10th selection of the 2024 NFL Draft. Oh, my Lord. I wonder if they're going to find the money and they're going to be quiet suitors for Malik Willis. I mean, we saw what he did with the likes of Sam Darnold. And I'll say this. I know Flores is there. But, man, I bet you they'd have more faith in Tua. But Tua ain't going to Minnesota. He'll probably retire before he goes to Minnesota. But look at, hey, Kevin O'Connell has more power now. He didn't want him. And look at, he's rectifying a mistake. He saw that happen from the beginning. You know, kudos to him. Kudos to him. He's not going to wait around. Just 2 years removed. It's going to be 2 years removed. This is the second draft since they picked him in 2024, and they're already saying, yo, we're out. Wild. But, you know, I not going to say I didn't see that coming with Kevin O'Connell getting power and the GM who wanted to select him now out. Now, Tyreek Hill, you want to hear something interesting? Jason LaConforna reports that an anonymous NFL GM isn't even remotely interested in Tyreek Hill, even at the vet minimum. Quote, we aren't touching him, no chance. We think he's done. He isn't a difference maker anymore. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, not even as a vet minimum guy for us. And what does that say? I mean, when you're talking about the juice ain't, you know, worth the squeeze, they're talking about putting up with the antics. The player he once was. Teams just aren't expecting him to recover from that injury because that was devastating. Teams just aren't expecting him to recover from that injury. I mean, the word on the street is that he's already not going to be ready for the opening of the season. Now, Tyreek is the type of competitor that's just going to, you know, fuel his fire and make him go out there and work harder. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to count him out by any stretch of the imagination at all. But, I mean, you're past the 30 hill. You just had, never mind the most devastating injury of your career, the most devastating injury a wide receiver whose game is predicated on speed could have. So, hey, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he bounces back. But we all know what happened here. That I'll give you better. Like, the headache ain't worth the Tylenol. Let's put it that way. So, it is what it is. Shout out to Tyreek. I hope he does get healthy, and I hope he does get back to his old self just in the NFC. I want to shout out the sponsor of this video. That, of course, is Clean the World. Clean the World, man, they do such great things. They work with over 8,300 hospitality partners to divert their soap bars and plastic amenities from landfills and recycle the collected soap into new bars. And by doing so, Clean the World helps reduce pollution, save water, and decrease the carbon footprint of thousands of hotels globally while helping improve the lives of women, children, and communities. Since it was established in 2009, Clean the World has distributed over 80 million bars of soap. The organization has also diverted 9 million pounds of plastic amenity bottles and over 29 million pounds of total waste from landfills, and helped Clean the World Foundation provide an estimated 17 billion individual hand washers for those in need across the globe. By recycling the soap and other discarded hygiene products, Clean the World saves lives with items that traditionally end up in landfills. You can donate, even volunteer to help Clean the World's cause at cleantheworld.org. That's cleantheworld.org. Hey, listen. You want to help change the world, start off by helping clean the world. Check them out. All right. Let's go ahead and let's dive into everything here. And let's start off with this question. Should the Miami Dolphins draft Taylen Green on day 3 of the NFL draft? If you don't know what I'm talking about, and you missed the combine, don't worry, I got you covered. But Taylen Green went out here and put up some absolutely ridiculous numbers, okay? And we're going to get into it all here. So let's break it down first. Let's break down what he did at the combine. So when you look at his numbers, just absolutely crazy. So the prior broad jump and vertical record was held by Anthony Richardson, and he crushed that. I mean, 4.36 40. He reached a top speed of 23.4 miles per hour. He had an 11.2 inch broad jump. He had a 43.5 inch vertical. Like, that is unbelievable. Like, this guy was out here. I want you to put this in perspective for a second here. Okay? He was out here putting up like a DK Metcalf level performance. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's nuts. At quarterback? That's unbelievable. I mean, he's 6'5" and 7/8. DK is he was a little over 6'3", 6'3" and 3/8. Taylen was 227 measured in that. DK was 228. Taylen ends up running a 4.36. It was a 4.37 unofficial, but it ends up coming out of a 4.36. DK runs a 4.33. But DK only had a 40.5 inch vert. Taylen Green had a 43.5 inch vert. That is unbelievable. Now, you want to see this in motion? Don't worry. You know your boys got you. Check out Taylen Green's performance. It was unbelievable. Here's the vert. Wow.
There we go. 33.5. Best.
Here's his broad. Over 11 feet.
Hey. 11-2. Hey.
11-2.
Now you're back. Here's
Let's go,
Taylen Green, who crushed it.
Woo, he
on
is
the
striding
vert.
that out.
4, 3, 7.
Come on. Now, I've been warning you guys for months. I thought he was going to blow up the combine. People were saying, oh, you can get him in the 5th round. I told y'all, I said after the combine, he's going to crack the 100. And if he has a good enough combine, he's going to crack the top 75. I want you to think about something for a second, because I'm gonna show you this to make a point. If you take a look at his relative athletic score, all right, talking about a 4.37 that ended up being a 4.36. You look at his splits. You look at the high. He did this at 6'6", 227. I mean, unbelievable RAS. I think it's like the 4th highest RAS ever for a quarterback, something like that. Anyways, listen, almost 10-inch hands, which, that's good. Look at the arm length, the wingspan. There's cornerbacks I wish they had that. If you look at this RAS right here, if he posted this RAS as a wide receiver, it would be the best RAS ever for a wide receiver. It would literally be the best relative athletic score. So my point is here, if you take him right now, listen, I know he needs work. I know you saw it when he was throwing, right? Struggling with the timing and a little bit of the short stuff, which, that it becomes even more glaring when he's under pressure. But then what did you see as it went on? As the throws got a little deeper, middle of the field to deep ball, look at some of the throws he was making. He found his rhythm, found his touch, found his placement. I'm telling you, it's there if you coach him up. What's the point of paying all these quarterback coaches and your offensive coordinator and all these people if they're not going to be able to develop these type of players? And here's the thing. The reason why I told you about the wide receiver, relative athletic score, and all that kind of stuff, you got to look at Taylen Green as he's multiple shots at the target to hit. If it doesn't work out quarterback, you could try him at wide receiver. Doesn't work out at wide receiver, you could try him as tight end. All that fails, he becomes an ultimate gadget player in the NFL and does a little everything. I mean, if Taysom Hill, think about this one for a second. If Taysom Hill has a job in the NFL, this kid's going to have a job in the NFL, and he's a bigger freak. He has the potential to become Lamar Jackson light. That's what he has. I think, listen, but then people are going to be like, reason, Anthony Richardson. Okay. What's Anthony Richardson's? We've talked about what one of the biggest problems is with quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson. What is it? It's the fact that Anthony Richardson is one of those, vaunted quarterbacks drafted with less than 15 starts. Right? Over the last 10 years, Anthony Richardson, Mitchell Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins. Ty Simpson is about to join that group probably after his showing today. That'll be 4. But all 3 of those guys are busts. The difference is, look at the amount of starts and play time he has. And look at his completion percentage got better. It was like 58% in 2024. It jumped up to over 60%, just a little over 60%. I mean, it got better in 2025. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I'm saying, he's 23. He's been around the block. He's a freak athlete. He's got a good number of starts in the SEC under his belt. And listen, I know he had Petrino. I get all that. When Petrino worked with Lamar, I get all that. But you really think Arkansas is the place where that kind of quarterback needs to develop? Think about this. I want you to think about this. Think about this for 1 second. Who did the Dolphins draft out of Arkansas? You remember? Well, they didn't draft him. You remember they signed him as an undrafted free agent, Andrew Armstrong? Who remembers Andrew Armstrong? Does anyone remember that Andrew Armstrong in 2024 had 78 receptions for 1,140 yards? He led the SEC in receptions and receiving yards. And that was Taylen Green's best weapon at Arkansas, and he lost him. He didn't have him in 2025. And he wasn't even that great. This is why a guy like this is exactly why you saw Reason up here stressing about who our quarterback coach was going to be. When people were saying, oh, don't worry, Nathaniel Hackett, we thought it was going to be him because he was originally hired before he took the OC job. Oh, don't worry, Reason, you're blowing it up. This is why, because I knew this guy was going to test this way, and you want the best guy in there possible. This is why I wanted us to retain Darrell Bevell, but I knew we wouldn't because Slowick was basically brought here by McDaniel to push him out. So I knew that wasn't gonna happen. Now, I will say this for the Miami Dolphins right now. Their quarterback coach, Bush Hamdan, he was with Taylen Green for a year at Boise State. So, listen, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say this. I would take, if I could talk about third round, if I could get him at 90, I would take Taylen Green. I would take him. Yep. Give him the Jordan Love treatment. Listen, this is what I don't get. These guys, Hafley and Sullivan, come from a organization that's known to take upside, high ceiling guys like this and just sit them and develop them and show patience. Look at the guy that's about to get 20 plus million on the market. How long did it take him to get where he's at right now? And he wasn't the freak that Taylen Green is right now. With the right people in place and the right development. Man, the thing is here, this is what my motto, okay? I want you to understand my motto for this. In a draft where a lot of these quarterbacks are projects, and you're going to have to teach them a lot, you might as well take the guys who have the most things and the most traits you can't teach in their game. We're going to talk about that in a second here too. But yeah, listen, would I prefer to use the 90th and not have to spend like 75 or 87? Yeah. But he might crack the top 75. And then we might not even have a shot at him. But Taylen Green on day 2 should be in play for the Miami Dolphins. What do we have to lose right now? If he doesn't hit and Ewers doesn't hit, it's not going to stop you from drafting a guy in 2027. It's just not. So let's talk about this. I do want to cover this. All right. I think Dolphin fans and a lot of NFL fans need to realize, especially with this draft, every rookie quarterback is a project, but Mendoza, he's the least work and the most pro ready of them all, night and day, like far and away. It's him and then a big gap and a drop off. Ty Simpson's a project. Nussmeier's a project. Taylen Green's a project. Cole Payton's a project. Drew Aller's a project. All these guys are projects in their own way. Taylen Green needs to develop better mechanics and improve his accuracy, especially the accuracy on the short levels and his touch. And he needs to get in the film work in the film room and do the work and understand defenses and to help his processing a lot more. So does Aller. But Aller also, he needs to become a big time gamer because he just hasn't shown that clutch gene at all. Aller also needs his mechanics from the lower half rebuilt. From the on his lower half rebuilt. His footwork is awful. Some of the worst in this class. Yeah, the arm is live. The arm talent is fantastic. It's never been in question. But it's always been about what's between the ears with him and what's been below the waist in terms of mechanically and processing and understanding the game. What do I tell you all the time? Playing that position 90% up here. Ty Simpson needs a lot of work. Mechanics, especially when he goes under pressure, they just crumble. And amongst other things. My point is, all these guys are projects in their own right, and they're all big, and they're all pretty much big projects. Sawyer Robinson, I mean, I didn't like what I saw from him at the combine tonight in terms of how he was throwing the football. His release looked a little bit more awkward and a lot longer than it did on film. Actually, I thought Nussmeier and Ty Simpson were the best throwers of the football at the combine. I thought Cole Payton had some nice balls, nice thrown balls, and I thought so did Taylen Green, especially as the balls got deep, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But they're all projects, man. All these guys are projects. Like, you need this whole mentality of, oh, they need to be polished when we take them. It's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's not happening. And I don't know where people are getting the assumption that it's going to. Fans want a finished product when they're drafting a quarterback from the third round on. It's not happening. Again, absolutely zero foresight or patience for developing the quarterback properly, like the Packers did with Favre, Rodgers, and Love. But then those same fans will turn around and will preach you trust the process with Hafley and Sullivan when it comes to signing Malik Willis, who has taken how long to develop and isn't even fully there yet, but wants $20+ million a year. Make it make sense. Taking a flyer on someone like Taylen Green or Drew Aller, who you all know I'm not even a fan of, because they ooze traits, isn't the end of the world and doesn't prevent Miami from dipping their toes back into the quarterback market and in the 2027 draft. Scared money do not make money. Period. That's it. Again, not a big fan of Aller, but I won't deny the traits, and I wouldn't be crying if Hafley and Sullivan said, oh, we can develop this guy and get him where we need to be. Because I understand the traits. I don't like them, but I get it. And where are we at right now? One of our biggest holes. Check out some of the deep balls, though, today from these quarterbacks. Pretty good.
He stepped to open him up to whatever side he wants to throw the ball. I think that's been what he's taught. And he throws a pretty deep ball.
Beautiful.
That's a nice one.
Oh, man.
Famous sled.
Here's Nussmeier.
Like I said, I got to see
Big
in the
throw.
class.
Say any
I'm asking
more.
for any more details.
Nice throw.
I don't want to spoil it for
Nice
anybody.
throw. Cole Payton. He was slinging a little bit. Love it. Boom.
Wow, that's Cole Payton's best throw.
Right.
And then here's Taylen Green. Money.
There you go.
That's a better ball.
Love it. Good stuff. Listen, they're all projects. Don't be scared. I like, Cole Payton. I like Taylen Green. Projects. I like Sawyer Robinson. Project. No, don't matter who you want. Derek Robinson. Don't matter who you want in this class. How deep they are, don't matter. They're all projects. Now, who are some standouts? Well, we had the fastest 40 time on a day 3 of the combine. Check this out. It was pretty incredible. You look at Brennan Thompson. I mean, look at this. Had a 4.26. Got to a max speed of higher than Worthy, who ran a 4.21. Look at that 10-yard split. Unbelievable stuff. Max acceleration, crazy. And here's the run. When you look at it. Man.
4.26.
Woo! Thompson went off. Now, some other standouts here. Cole Payton, he had a good day. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Came in at 6'3", 232, had a 40-inch vertical, a 10-foot, 10-inch broad jump. Ran like a 4.58 unofficial. Sawyer Robinson, he actually had a pretty good RAS. Came in at 6'4", 216, 37.5-inch vertical, 10-foot, 3-inch broad jump. He actually posted he ran like a 4.6. 4.65, I think it was. Haynes King from Georgia Tech had a good day. Came in at 6'2", 212, but other than that, 33.5-inch vert, ran a 4.46, had a really good shuttle and 3-cone, 4.7 and 6.99. He really rises stock. With the running backs, my boy, who I told all y'all, running back 2, lock it in, Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas. This man went out there and ran a 4.33 at 6'1", 223. Had a 39-inch vertical, 10-foot, 8-inch broad jump. Man, that guy runs with a nasty stiff arm. I love how he runs. I guess I got an affinity for our Arkansas guys because, both Arkansas guys, Washington and Taylen Green, are going to be on my man crush list probably. So, Damon Claiborne, he ran a 4.37. I mean, it was crazy that Washington posted a 4.33 at that size. That was nuts. Think about that, bro. 4.33 at 6'1", 223. My God. Explosive straight line speed. Now, the wide receivers. One of my man crushes who I've been talking about for quite some time, Chris Brazel. Man, he was big today. He ran a 4.37 40-yard dash and had a 1.52 10-yard split at 6'4", 198 pounds, 32 and 3/8-inch arms, 9-inch hands. I'm sorry, man. I'm really struggling with not putting Chris Brazel in my top 3. It's Tyson, Tate, Makai Lemon, and then Brazel for me, but I'm having a hard time not putting Brazel up there. I know people have, PTSD with Tennessee receivers, but he's the best one to come out. He's a way better route runner than the ones you've seen come out. And when you put his profile in perspective, it's very similar to Randy Moss. Randy Moss was 6'3.5", Brazel 6'4". Brazel 198, Moss 194. Moss ran a 4.38 40. Brazel 4.37 40. And they both ran a 1.52 10-yard split. That's crazy. Another guy we highlighted on Fin Too Deep, who I love a lot, Trey Lance's brother, Bryce Lance, was unbelievable. 6'3", 204, 41.5-inch vert, 11-foot, 1-inch broad jump, a 4.34 40. 32, just under 32 and a quarter inch arms, 9 and a quarter inch hands. Bryce Lance made some money, and you're seeing everyone comp him to Christian Watson. It's crazy. Another guy I'm really high on, Ted Hurst, had a really good day. Came in at 6'4", 32, 5/8-inch arms, 206 in terms of weight, 9 3/4 hands. He ran a 4.4 240, a 1.55 10-yard split, had a 36.5-inch vert, an 11-foot 3-inch broad jump. Ted Hurst made some money for that size. That's what we need, these guys at that size, right? We need 6'4", like Ted Hurst, 6'3", like Bryce Lance. We need 6'4", like Brazel. But another guy I'm high on, Skylar Bell, y'all know, 10-inch hands, 6 foot, 192, ran a 4.4 flat, 41-inch vertical, 11-foot 1 broad jump. He killed it too. Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati was out of this world, 6'5", 216, had a 42-inch vert, 11-foot 2-inch broad, ran a 4.31 40. Oof. Deion Burks out of Oklahoma, he ran a 4.3 flat, but at 5'9", 180. Omar Cooper had a really big day, 6 foot even, 196, 37-inch vert, 4.47. A lot of first round chatter coming out of the combine about Omar Cooper. Zachariah Branch ran a 4.35, but he's 5'8.5", 177. You should. Malik Benson, 6 foot, and 189, and he ran a 4.37, so that was pretty good. So those were the top standouts from today on day 3. Ladies and gentlemen, do me the favor, smash the like button. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It is the final day of the combine. I hope each and every one of you enjoy it. Remember, offensive linemen, here we go. We got to see our offensive linemen, Moe Noah, all those guys. So, Fano, all of them, all the guards, Bo Stevens, Logan Jones. Can't wait. Do me the favor, smash that like button. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. And as always, I'll check you all in the next one. Fins up all day, every day. Love y'all.